Okay, now I want to talk to you about digging bags, and these are the things that you wear on your hip when you're out water hunting that you put your goodies in. You'll quickly find out when you make the transition from land hunting to water hunting that the digging bag you use on land probably won't work in the water, at least without a few modifications. I'm going to show you why that is. Let's take a wander over to the table there and I'll show you some different options that you had, some things I've used that didn't work out so well, and what I use today. So here's a lineup of the different types of bags that I've used over the years and what I use now. Let's just start with the old orange bag. This is what I first started digging with once I realized that a land hunting bag just wasn't going to cut it. And this works great for about one trip, but what happens is the sharp things cut the fibers here and everything falls out. Plus you have to secure this to your belt somehow, and that's a pain. What I use for many years is one of these pouches here, and this is a pouch that you can order online. This is what beach hunters use. There's my kitty cat boy. He's missing a foot, so he's a misfit, so he gets to live here with us. But he's a really good cat. Let me get him out of the way here though. Go boy. Alright. So this is a really good bag and it'll last a long time. You get them online, they're a little bit pricey though. Another option is to use your land hunting bag. Okay, this is a Garrett bag and I use this quite a bit too. The only problem with the Garrett bags is that, alright, so I got rid of the cat, sorry about that. This works great except that all land hunting bags have an inherent problem. Let me show you what that is. So the problem you're going to have when you're water hunting with a land digging bag is this. When you go down to dig in the water is going to pour into the bag and it's going to fill the bag up. When you go to stand up, the bag is full of water like this and it's very heavy and you constantly will be doing this, pouring the water out. And that's a pain because you have to do it every time you go down and dig a target. So let me show you what I did so you don't have to constantly be pouring like that. So what you want to do is make a series of drain holes in your digging bag. Now I recommend that you don't put it directly on the bottom because the heavy pointy things will be, trying to cut holes in the bottom of the bag anyway. So I put them up just a little bit on the side. And this modification will not hurt the bag at all, especially when it comes to like land hunting. It's not going to make any difference whatsoever. I don't recommend you taking a knife and poking holes in it because that will leave unsealed edges that will eventually rip. So what I do is I take a propane torch and an awl. And I imagine you could just use an old Phillips screwdriver or something like that. But so what you do is you just heat the tip like this, come over and you just poke holes in it like that. And what that does is it melts the edges of the holes so they don't continue to fray. Now like I said, you could use a screwdriver for that as well, or if you don't have anything like that, just get a pair of pliers and a nail. You can use a propane torch, or you can even just heat this on the stove in your kitchen. And just get the nail good and hot and just poke holes in it like that and it'll seal up the edges. That's all you need to do is have a series like this so that when you stand up the water will pour out. And this is what I use now. I do occasionally use the smaller bags if I'm on a long search where I don't know if I'm going to find anything or not. I'll just take a small one instead of the big one like this. But normally I use this one. What this is a dive belt. These pockets right here are where divers put in the weights like this so that they can sink underwater. The neat thing about using it for digging bag is that you can keep things in it. For example, in this one, I'll just show you. I have an extra glove in case I forget mine. I also carry a little mini dive light. And the dive lights are nice because if you get back to your kayak takeout at night, which occasionally will happen if you misjudge, you can use the light to find your way. Also, they're great to look underneath the rocks for snakes and eels and turtles and catfish. You'll find lots of things under the rock ledges if you have a flashlight, so that's kind of neat too. So the next thing I do is I take a diver's weight belt, this big mesh bag here. And this is just a mesh bag that divers use to carry these, so these can hold a lot of weight. The problem is that when you get them, they just have handles like this, a handle here and a handle here, so you have to modify it a little bit. And what I did is I just folded the handle over, I put these little rivets in here like that. That works great. I've used this bag probably for at least 4 or 5 years. I've carried up to 3 cannonballs at a time in it. It's really well. And this is just a great setup because you can hook all your gear to it, put a carabiner on here and hook your kayak or whatever and just drag it along with it. This is what I use nowadays. So that's it in a nutshell. You have your basic options here. I'd recommend one of these 3 right here for digging in the water. You might be able to come up with something else that works for you, and I hope you do. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, just give me a shout.